everyone, I'm Keisha Charmaine and I'm back with another video. And in this video, I will be doing another Chloe and Halle lock style. Technically, I'm repeating a lock style because I did this lock style already. However, I'm switching it up because I am accessorizing it. Now, if you were paying attention, then you saw that Chloe and Halle wore these beautiful crystals in their hair for their Bulgari performance at New York Fashion Week. So here's a photo. It's actually a screenshot from a video, so it's not like the best quality. But for some reason, Chloe didn't post any pictures from this look, and yeah, so I'm having troubles finding pictures of her. I found pictures of Halle, and I will also do Halle's diamond hairstyle, but being that my hair is in braids, I can do this braid out style now. I have to wait until I wash my hair again so it's straight again before I do Halle style. So I'll be attempting Chloe's. So I have these beads here. They're not quite as thick as the ones that Chloe has, but they're really pretty. Let's focus. You see they're nice and shiny. So that's what I'll be, there we go. So that's what I'll be using. But for now, I have to take my braids out. So that's what I'm gonna start doing. And while I take out my braids, this may take a while. So I'll have a timestamp here, letting you know when I get to the fun part, the actual lock style. And until then, I'll be talking about entrepreneurship and my challenges as an entrepreneur, as a woman entrepreneur, as an influencer. And obviously, depending on what field you're in, your challenges will vary, they'll differ. So I'm not trying to say that this is something everyone's going to face when becoming an entrepreneur by any means, especially like not anybody who's not an influencer slash entrepreneur. So everyone's challenges are going to be different, but I'm just going to share my experiences. I still consider myself a new entrepreneur. While I've had my business for for years now. For a number of years. However, I'm still in the infancy of my business. Being that I'm currently getting a location, an external location outside of my home, and I will be getting staff. I'll be getting interns. But yeah, I can't have interns or like staff working in my home. Like, that's not appropriate. For me, it's not appropriate. So so that's what I'll be doing. And when I have that external space, I'll be able to expand more because I'll be able to create more inventory. Because the thing is, my products, they sell out very quickly. And the only way that I can not sell out so quickly is if I have more inventory. The only way I can have more inventory is if I have more room for inventory. So, and it's pretty impressive the way I'm able to sell because I don't even put any money into advertisement. All I do is my YouTube videos and my Instagram posts and my mailing list. Mailing lists are clutch. So if all you're doing, if you, sidebar, if this is a quick tip, if all you're doing is promoting yourself on social media, I mean, that's great, but you want to get in people's inboxes. You want to get people's inboxes. Like, I feel like it's not discussed enough, but being on people's mailing lists, I mean, having people on your mailing list is really gonna be a quick way to get money, to get sales. So with that being said, I wrote a list. Where is it? So the first challenge that I have in mind regarding being an influencer entrepreneur is decision making. And this is especially if you are a solopreneur, like if you don't have any staff, if you're running this business all on your own, then the decision making can be really difficult because everything is on you. Everything is on you. It's recommended that you do have a team of people that will help you. A finance person, definitely. I definitely recommend having an accountant, bookkeeper. I've noticed significant growth once I've added that to my business. Once I've hired a bookkeeper. Some people need a personal assistant, maybe somebody to answer emails. Me personally, like say you have an online business where you are creating packages to ship out. You may need some staff for the manual labor of the actual shipping, the boxing and the shipping and the shipping. So yeah, that's a sidebar. That's another sidebar. But back to what I was saying, as far as decision making, it's difficult because sometimes you'll make mistakes. You'll make mistakes and it's all on you. But you'll also have victories and that's also all on you. So you have to take the good with the bad. And sometimes when you're making decisions, you're not the most well versed in whatever you have to decide. So sometimes you feel like you don't trust your decision making because you're not knowledgeable. For instance, say you're not very knowledgeable of web design, or like creating websites. There are a lot of different hosts that are out there to create your website. How do you know which host is best for you? You have to go out your way and make the research and do the research and figure out what works best for you. But sometimes it's just faster and easier when you hire people. I know a lot of times we don't want to come out of pocket for a lot of things. We want to do everything ourselves, and that's what causes a lot of more errors in our business when we try to do everything ourselves. That was actually the second point that I had. Allocating tasks to other people. Know your strengths, know your weaknesses. One of my weaknesses is organization as far as like money. So like I said earlier, when I hired a bookkeeper, I was able to organize my money a lot better, which really helped me reduce spending on inventory and optimize my spending so that I'm not wasting money. I know a lot of times when we have a business, we view our business as our baby. Our business is our baby, so we feel overprotective of our baby, and we don't want to hire other people to do certain things. We want to micromanage and we want to do it all ourselves. But again, know your strengths, know your weaknesses, and when it comes to your weaknesses, find somebody who has that as a strength, and it'll free up so much time. Because that's another point, like I said earlier, when you don't know web design but you need to create your website and you want to do it yourself, now you have to do all this research, all this get all these programs that you're not familiar with, learn it, and figure everything out from scratch. And sometimes even when you do figure it out, it is not as good as it could have been if you hired a professional. And the thing is, when you hire a professional, that frees up so much time for you to put into what you are good at. So for instance, ideally I'll get to a place where I'm only handling my strengths. I'm only doing my content creation, and I'm only formulating my products and coming up with new products, engaging with my viewers and my supporters, doing events and things like that. Eventually Eventually I get as a squirrel or something. Eventually I'll get to the point where I'll only be doing the things I'm good at, and I'll be able to have somebody who's handling the inventory, who's handling the actual like labor of mixing the products and bottling the products and packaging the products and shipping the products, and I'll have also somebody else answering emails, answering questions and things like that. So yeah, sometimes it's important that we learn to let go of control, and that applies to all areas of our lives, really. Let go of control. You don't control anybody. You don't control the outcome of your situation. Of course you can, of course you play a role in the outcome. Of course you can influence other people. But control, that's a different beast. You don't have it. You don't have control. And once you free up that mindset that you want to control everything, you'll see, one, you'll see your stress levels reduce, and two, you'll see things just tend to fall into place a lot more rather than when you are trying to force things into place. So yeah, I think that's a good little tidbit to keep with you. Control is an illusion, you know. Now this is going to apply to the entrepreneurs who do have staff or are collaborating with other people. This is something that I've dealt with a lot. I actually dealt with it today. And that's kind of what made me want to talk about this topic, because I didn't like the way I felt in this situation. So let me tell you what happened. Vaguely. I'm collaborating on something with someone. We had made an agreement, and then they told me, we had made an agreement previously, and then they followed up with me and told me something that was not what we agreed on. And they told me as if this was solidified, this is what's happening, but that's not what we agreed on. It's totally different than what we agreed on. So in that situation, I felt kind of triggered, right? I kind of felt like, huh. What did I feel like? I mean, I remember I felt it physically in my body. I felt a reaction physically in my body. I did feel disrespected. I felt like, I think that's the best word to use. I felt disrespected. And I voiced my grievance with them. And they were very apologetic. They didn't mean to they didn't mean to come across the way they did. And I trust that they're being honest. I do. But it was just that, and honestly I didn't even have any issue with what they told me. My issue was just the fact that it was different than what we had agreed on. So I kind of felt like, why are decisions being made without me? That's why I felt disrespected. Like, so yeah, I was very clear and assertive, basically saying, this is not what we agreed on. This is not what we agreed on. That all ended well, but I left kind of feeling like, oh, Keisha, like, you sounded kind of bossy. You kind of sounded like, I don't know, I hope you didn't come across aggressive. And the way they were apologizing to me, like, made me feel like, okay, was I being nasty? Like, because they were like very, very apologetic. And I'm just like, ugh. And you know when people say sorry to you like a mad times, it kind of makes you feel like, oh, am I like scaring them? Like, I don't ever want to come across like intimidating or anything like that. And that's something that we women, if you're watching this and you're women, I'm talking to us, that's something that we women experience a lot, especially as black women. For one, regardless if you're an entrepreneur or not, if you're a black woman and you're in a position of leadership, very often, you know, you get labeled as being masculine, when all you're really doing is like taking lead. When you're just taking lead. I mean, well, I guess being a leader, it can be viewed as a masculine trait. I guess it all depends on the field and how you go about your leadership, you know. But yeah, and a lot of times, you know, we get labeled as being a bitch just for doing our job and having standards for the outcomes that we're looking for. And I will never ever say that you shouldn't be assertive when it comes to you. You should always be assertive when it comes to you. I think it's even like a self-respect thing. Like, I respect myself too much to be passive aggressive about, you know, my work or my value, you know. Of course, you pick your battles, you know. You pick your battles wisely. Pick your battles wisely now. But just in general, like, I actually had a conversation with somebody not too long ago, and we were talking about when it's appropriate to be passive aggressive and when it's appropriate to be assertive. And my stance was, I'm assertive, period. Like, I'm not gonna opt for passive aggressive. If I'm ever like passive aggressive, trust me, that's an accident. That's an accident for sure. But in the conversation that we had, it was about you know, when we're like consciously making a decision, should I be passive aggressive or should I be assertive? So again, if I ever am passive aggressive, it's accidental, because especially where I'm in my life right now. And I remember my friend Tyree, actually I'm going to see Tyree later on today. My friend Tyree, she said to me on my birthday, even it's in my birthday vlog, you can check that out if you haven't seen it. She says, you know, because she turned 33 months before me, and she was like, Keisha, you know, when you're 30 now, trust me, like, it's about to be a switch that goes off where you just feel like you don't give a F about certain things anymore. It's just like, and at first I was just like, what are you talking about, girl? You've been 30 for 3 months, knock it off. But I totally understand what she was saying. You're not like, you're less concerned about being a people pleaser. You're less concerned about like walking on eggshells. Basically, I feel like you're more certain and secure in who you are, and you know what you want. You know what you want, and you know what it takes to get what you want, and you know what it takes to get you stuck where you've been at. So you move accordingly. So I'm always gonna be like pro assertive. Like, I'm not trying to be where I was yesterday. I'm always trying to better myself, and I don't mean that in like a unhealthy way. Like, I'm not about grind culture, grind. That's not me. I'm not that. I work smart, and that's where I guess I can make another video about like working smart versus working hard. I can't talk about that now because I need to take notes. I can really think about it and take notes, but let me write that down actually. So the person I was talking to who was telling me that sometimes passive aggressive is the best approach in business settings, and I'm just like, And the thing is, they're a black man who said that to me, and I'm like, you know what, I could see why you may feel like that, because you are a black man and your presence, you have a different presence than my presence as a small black woman. You know, sometimes we will get overlooked if we don't assert ourselves, if we don't establish our no nonsense standard. If we don't establish our no nonsense standard from early, it's a wrap. It's just like, I'm thinking about when I was working with kids. So I don't know if you know this about me, I used to always want to be a teacher or a professor or a principal, right? But I always wanted to like work with teenagers or older or college kids. But I've worked with kids of all age. I worked at daycare before. I worked with babies and toddlers. I've worked with at an after school program with elementary school kids of all the ages, more specifically 4th grade and 5th grade. I mean, like, not more specifically, more closely, more hands-on with the 4th and 5th graders. Actually, I don't think I worked with middle school kids. No, I didn't. But I worked with high school kids and early college kids as well. Different jobs I had. Anyway, my point is, it's when you're working with the teenagers, you have to have a totally different approach than when you're working with the elementary school kids. And of course, also when you're working with the toddler kids and the babies, you have to have a totally different approach. And what was my point in bringing this up? Let me see where this goes. I remember now. So I remember when I first interviewed for the job with the 4th and 5th graders. I was so surprised I even got that job. I know I got that, you know. Okay, so let me tell y'all. Quick story time. So where was I working at that time? I think I was, oh Lord, I was working in the Bronx. I was working in the Bronx, and that commute to the Bronx every morning was 2 hours on a train and then 2 hours coming back home. It didn't quite feel like 2 hours because you have to take a bus to a train to another train and then walk a little bit. And because there's so much activity, it just didn't feel like that long. Like I wasn't sitting on one train for 2 hours, you know? But I would leave my house at 8 o'clock and I would be outside the college access center at 10 o'clock. And I'd be like, wow, this really took me 2 hours to get here. So I would just like, I need to, like, I'm wasting my life in commute. So I was looking for jobs in Queens. Mind you, if I were to drive, it would have been nothing. I wasn't driving at the time. I didn't have my license, nor did I have a car. So that's the thing. When it comes to New York City, like, getting around on public transportation, it's very timely. So it's time consuming. So a lot of people be like, oh, you don't need a car when you live in New York City. You don't need a car. You don't need a car, but it will absolutely help you out if you had one, because you will be in commute like all day if you have to travel from Coney Island to Fordham Road. Like, you will be that's probably a 3 hours from Brooklyn to Bronx. Anyway, so I was looking for jobs in Queens, and I came across this after school program with with elementary school kids, and I got the interview. And for the interview they told me to come with an activity to do for the kids, and then they're gonna basically watch me run the activity. And it was me. I was 23 years old, I think. I was 23 years old, and my activity was like, it was like a listening skills, like a test. Basically, I had like a drawing that was like a bunch of geometric shapes, and the task was for them to listen to my direction. They can't see my drawing, but they're gonna listen to my directions, and if they listened correctly, then their drawing should come out exactly how my drawing was. And they thought it was really fun, so that's why I got the job. But I could have not got the job because the way that the kids were so rowdy, and like I could not control them. I could not get them to calm down. I couldn't. So I was surprised I got the job. But I know I got the job because the kids liked me because I had a fun activity. Yeah. But anyway, so when I was actually on the job and I had to keep them on task, say they're doing homework, say we're doing things on the curriculum for them, you know, I had to you know, keep them on task. But they already knew me as the girl with the fun art project, so it was difficult to really establish myself as a leader position to them. Eventually, like, it came along. Like, they respected me eventually, they trusted me and they liked me. I liked them. I think about them often. Oh my god, and they're probably like about to go to college now, or like applying for colleges at least, something like that. Like, wow, that was such a long time ago. I did run into one of the kids on the street, and she was so tall. She looked exactly the same in the face, but she looked so tall. I'm like, oh my god, these kids are grown up. But anyway, yeah, so my point, I think my point was that you have to establish a level of, you have to assert yourself to a certain degree to get the kind of outcome that you want from people. And yeah, I guess why did I bring that example up? That's so weird. That's such a weird example to make my point. But yes, you don't want to be passive. And being passive aggressive with kids, does that work? I can't imagine that work. I can't like see in what case that would possibly work. You have to be very assertive with kids. Very, very much. But the example the guy was telling me that where he felt like passive aggression was best, and he was like talking about like microaggressions that he received from like whites and in the workplace. However, that makes sense because I mean, I get person to person, but I can see that making sense because essentially what microaggressions are passive aggressive forms of racism, right? So basically in that scenario, if you're being passive aggressive to them, you're just meeting them where they're at. You know what I'm saying? You're just matching their energy. But I mean, just personally for me, that's like playing games, and I don't like that. I don't like that. I prefer to like be really blunt and clear. Although that has often I don't want to say it hurt me because it didn't, but it often made the situation different. Like, because you know, sometimes people can't handle bluntness. People can't handle bluntness, and they end up projecting, and they use their own interpretation, even though like the point of being blunt is like there's no confusion. The point of being blunt is so that there's no confusion. But I guess a lot of times people just take that as being rude, because a lot of people just don't want to be spoken to assertively. They want you to baby them. They want you to coddle them. A lot of people do want to be people don't admit it, but they want to be coddled. They do. I prefer just the clarity. I prefer like the, you know, no long talk. Just get to the point. Don't like buttercoat. Sugarcoat. Don't sugarcoat anything for me. I'm good. But I mean, I guess with more experience, more life experience and more work experience, I'll see like I'll be able to navigate that better. Like what situations are best for passive aggression and what situations are best for assertion, you know? And the thing about passive aggressive sometimes is like it's manipulative in a way, like, you know, you're not saying what you mean. You're saying what you want to say to trigger a response, a certain response from somebody. But and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. It's not inherently bad. But yeah, again, we women, we do struggle with wanting to not be deemed as like the bitch who's in charge, like, or like, you know, oh, she's a man, she's got balls, bigger balls than me, like, you know, things like that. We don't want that because at least not all of us, you know, some of us I'm sure want that, but I know I don't. I feel like I'm received better when I'm like living in my feminine energy. And sometimes that just doesn't really link up, or like it doesn't really resonate with us being assertive. But I've been working on finding a balance, like tone works. So that's why I don't argue like via text anymore, or I don't argue. I don't even really argue. Like I've been working on my tone to the point where I'm good at what's the word? I'm good at navigating a potential argument and making it stay as a discussion. And now I'm not gonna say that I haven't failed on that, because I've definitely been like triggered into like maybe raising my voice to make it escalate into an argument. And by the way, I'm talking about like in recent history. In recent history, like because I've been working on myself. I've had therapy. I'm constantly like reading self-help. Like I'm working on myself. I'm observing myself. I'm very self-aware. So I'm not trying to say like I've never been like maybe like overly emotional and irrational, like when it comes to communication. Of course, like I was terrible, but you know, that's not something that they, I mean, maybe I was gonna say that's not something they teach you, but some people do teach you. Some parents will teach you that, but honestly, you learn from what you see more than anything when it comes to like communication. I think, you know, if you have like a parent or parents who are like distant, I don't want to say negligent, but maybe they're emotionally unavailable, it makes it harder for you to navigate your emotions, to understand your emotions. But when you have a parent who's very clear with you and transparent with you, and who is available to you, you will have better skills when it comes to that. Even if even if parents are not consciously teaching you that. But that's not always going to be the case. You know, sometimes people learn from what they see, and they just know, oh, I don't want to do that. I want to do the opposite. I want to make sure I'm the opposite. So I only have a couple of braids left, so I'm gonna keep going. I feel like I'm going on little tangents, but again, like that's a big one that I struggle with. Like I feel that struggle, I feel it in my bones, or like I feel it in my nerves, I feel it in my skeleton. Like when because the thing about me, like I'm not gonna take disrespect, especially like in a business setting, because I've learned through being an entrepreneur these years, being an influencer these years, that people in businesses will try to, I don't want to use the word I have in mind because that's inappropriate, and it's just, and it's a slang term though. They say it in New York. I don't know how y'all gonna receive it. I'm not gonna use that word. They will try to take advantage of you and take all that they can get from you. That's what they try to do. The slang term for that is the R word. I wasn't trying to say that, but they will try to get as much as they can out of you, and devalue you. So like, and I've experienced that, especially early on in my YouTube days. Like I didn't even know until like looking back. Like they will lowball you. They will lowball you, especially if you're a black creator. They will lowball you. So like, when you realize your value as a creator, as an influencer, or just somebody with a following and platform, somebody with influence, and once you like learn your value at that, you like you now you taxing people. You know when you're worth, and then you add in tax, because like too many times people, you know, oh hey, can you post this product and I'll give you some free products. Where's my money though? Oh, the product is worth $100. First of all, my fee is gonna be way more than $100, so what do you mean? Like, no, come on now. And don't think that your value is not high because you don't have 1 million followers. That's one thing that I thought, that's probably why I was lowballing so much earlier on, because that's the idea that you have. That's an assumption that we have, that just because you have a low amount of followers, you can't make money off your content, or just because you have a lot of followers that means you can make a lot of money. It's not about that. It's about your influence. And your influence, having a lot of followers and having influence, they are not the same. They are not the same. I remember the story went viral a couple of years ago. There was a girl who has like 3 million followers, right? And she had a t-shirt line coming out like in collaboration with a company, and she only sold 3 or like 20, like a very small amount. She only sold a few t-shirts, but sis had 3 million followers. The thing is, what are they following you for? And I remember I was talking to my co-star and my the assistant director of the short film that I'm gonna be in, and they were saying, okay, they were saying that it's creepy when you get notifications on Instagram from people liking pictures from 20 weeks ago. And I said, no, that's not creepy at all. They're like, that's not creepy that somebody's looking back onto your old pictures. I said, that literally happens to me every single day. Every single day I get mad notifications. Well, I don't get all my notifications because I get too many. But I still get, majority of my notifications are people liking old photos of mine. And they're like, what? That's not weird? I'm like, people follow me for a reason. And they took it like, oh, Keisha, oh, you look at you. They're like, oh, Keisha, okay, confidence. And it's not even about that. Is that people literally are following me because they want to see my hair. They want to see my hair progress. They want to learn about how they can do stuff for their hair and how they can treat their hair and things like that. That's why people follow me. So of course they're gonna go back on my old stuff and look at my old stuff and study. Like, that's why I don't have to post videos every day on YouTube like a lot of people do, because people are searching my old videos. So I cannot post a video all month and I'm still gonna get a nice check from YouTube because people are watching my old stuff. That's the point of YouTube, residual income. Value. My point was value. So yeah, so the girl who had 3 million followers, who couldn't sell a shirt, or who couldn't sell a lot of shirts, she's a low value creator. She posts like she was like a IG model. I don't like that term, because I would be offended if somebody tried to call me an IG model, because I actually model in real life. And a lot of these times people who are IG models do model in real life, but maybe not all of them. I don't know. But she was like one of those girls who be posting booty pictures. It was a white girl. Or she was not black. I know that she wasn't black. And she was not a resource that people followed her to learn anything, to get tips on anything. And matter of fact, she probably had mostly male followers anyway, trying to sell women stuff. So like, that's like, come on, like, free game. Like, if you're gonna be like a booty girl on YouTube, or I mean on Instagram, you're posting twerking stuff and thong pictures and stuff, like, sell products to men, because they're the ones who are following you the most, right? Anyway, yeah, I think that you have to be assertive to get by, because this business, they will walk all over you. And like Beyonce said, I'm not bossy, I'm the boss. Period. Okay, so the last like challenge that I have from being a influencer. Now this part is just for being an influencer, not necessarily an entrepreneur, but being a public figure, is the being highly visible and scrutinized. That's annoying. It's like, it's inhumane, and I can only imagine how celebrities feel. Like, I totally get like why a lot of celebrities just be out the limelight, like a Kendrick Lamar. Like, shout out to Kendrick. You don't know what he's doing. You don't know where he's at. You have no idea. Just and like, it's better that way. It's more peaceful, and like, having that mystery is part of the allure. So although obviously I'm a YouTuber, I'm running my mouth, but I don't usually, if I'm posting something, I'm posting it after the fact, after I'm not there no more. Usually you don't know who I'm with, you don't know who I'm dating, you don't know who I'm talking to, you don't know what I'm doing, you don't know where I'm at, like that. Like, And I think it's just better that way. It's better for your mental health. It's better for your mental health, and it's better for your followers when it comes to establishing boundaries with them. Like when you overshare with your followers, they think that they can ask you anything because you made it comfortable for them. Okay, Tyree is coming sooner than anticipated, so I'm gonna see about doing this style. So fortunately the braids are all out, so now I'm going to take a look at the style again. Okay, I had to put it up higher so you guys can see better. Okay, so now I'm getting a little hot. So now I'm going to create this bun by basically doing what I did in the original video, just wrapping it around and then fanning out some bangs. Okay, so that was really simple, right? And I'm gonna just put the ponytail holder on top. Make sure it's a color that matches your hair. And then I'm gonna just play with the hairs that I have, get them at the lengths that I want them. So I want some longer ones on the sides because she has, again, I'll show you the photo. She has some longer ones draping onto her chest on the sides, and that's what I'll attempt to do. Have some coming down here. So I already have like a couple here. Don't be afraid to tug, especially if you're using the horsetail leaf growth oil. Your hair's nice and strong if you're using that, because it's packed with silica from the horsetail. Horsetail is abundant in silica. Shameless plug. Get your horsetail leaf growth oil only at KeishaCharmaine.com. Anyway, so back to this style. Okay, so obviously I don't want this hanging out like this. So you guys get the idea of like just tucking and like placing, right? Do you guys remember I used to make lock jewelry? I used to sell lock jewelry. I stopped because it was hard on my hands. I used to have a whole subscription service. I used to make a ton of jewelry every month for people who were subscribed, but it was just so hard on my hands. My hands were just like, we had enough. So what I'm gonna do is like just like feel out how long I want it to be, and then I'll cut it there. So I'll go like with like right here. I'll go right here. And I'm gonna grab my wire cutter. Hopefully this works. And it works, yay! So now I'm gonna grab a pin. And I'm gonna hook one of the little diamonds. I'm gonna hook the pin into like the gap between the diamonds. Boom. See? Super simple, right? And I'm gonna just pin it into the bun. Oh, this one is nice and right in the center of my head. I think that's kind of cool. Right? That's pretty. That's pretty. I think that's really pretty, right? What do you guys think? You see, hers comes down like into her, like in between her eye, in between her eyes. So like I'm gonna let mine sit right there too. That's pretty. I mean, I think it would have looked better if I did have like the thicker diamonds, like how she and Halle have thicker ones, but I think it's still pretty. This is still pretty. So I'm gonna show you guys one more, and then I'm gonna keep I'm gonna do it off screen. So I'm gonna fill that out like right here. Wait, yeah, like right here. Cut it right there. And actually what I'm gonna do now is like just cut a few at the same length. or at least a similar length, because these don't have to be perfect. Because remember, this is a messy bun. At the end of the day, it's a messy bun. I'm sorry, I keep stuttering. This is a messy bun with messy faux bangs, so we don't need perfection with our accessories either. So she has about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 5 going across her face. So that's 1, 2, 3. Let me cut 2 more. But of course, if you're that type, you can always measure and cut. If you're a Virgo, you can measure and cut. But I'm a Pisces, okay? We don't measure. Okay. Again, put the diamond in between the, or put the pin in between the diamonds. Go on and pin in the bun. See, like that's kind of dangling on the side of my eye. And I'm gonna do the rest off screen and come back. Okay, so I put 5 shorter ones across my forehead, and I just pinned 1 longer one on the side. Chloe, she has more than just this, but where I'm about to go, I don't need to be super formal at all, actually. So I don't want to be too overdressed, but this is the look. Very simple, very easy, I should say. Just get the beads. These are, not the beads, the diamonds. I got these on Amazon. I'll have the link below. Again, I think I do recommend like a larger size, so I don't necessarily recommend the ones that I'm using, but maybe you like them small like this, so you can check out the link that I'll have down below. And that is it. Thank you so much for watching. Love, light, and locks. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. If you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up and remember to subscribe. You can always visit www.KeishaCharmaine.com for hair growth products, hair accessories, and more. But don't leave just yet. Check out my featured video and my latest video.